within the guidelines of the Constitution set forth by our founding fathers.
Right.
It is time for us to do what is necessary to defend the credibility, the borders, and the citizens of this country. And it's time to get him removed. Even if we have to drag him out of the White House kicking and screaming or do a perp walk, he's gone. And because he doesn't have the balls or the cojones to do the right thing and resign, because he cannot handle this job.
Right.
And we cannot afford, and the world cannot afford, never mind this country, for him to stay around for 2 more years. It's time for him to go, and go now.
Yeah, I know. And that's exactly what I've been saying all along. You know, I mean, this is what I've been saying for a couple of days now.
And
right,
I wrote that on Facebook, and I put it in LinkedIn and elsewhere, and pretty much the same thing, and it's been going viral all over the place all day long, and everybody's sharing everything else. And it is time for this country to do what we got to do. Okay.
Right.
And what's happening here? Everybody knows that it was Russia that shut down that plane. And it was 25 miles inside the Ukrainian territory, but in the rebels area that's in control right now, which is being supported and actually ran by Russia, because that Buk missile, they don't have the technology or the know-how for these rebels to actually know how to fire that. It has to be someone that has years' experience in the weapon. And that weapon's been around since the 70s. But it had to be people that know how to use it, because the technology is so sophisticated. So the only one that could do that was Russia. So I believe that Putin has his fingerprints on that, and he's responsible for it. And Carl Levin, he's a Democrat. In fact, he's a socialist Democrat. Even said it's an act of war, and it is. And this guy Elliott in New York also said it's a terrorist attack.
Right.
But this world right now is not a tranquil place like Obama believes is, as his press secretary said Monday. They're in la la land. They're so out of it mentally that they have to go. They can't wait. We can't wait to 2016. Right. They have to go today.
Right.
Because we may not be around in 2016 the way these people set up.
But also, don't forget too. I want to mention one more thing too. That we have B1 Bob said it best. We have an evil empire. And we have an evil.
That's Reagan. When the Soviet Union, Russia shut down the Korean plane back in '83, Ronald Reagan went up and spoke from the White House with the flags and everything, not like the press room, White House press room, but actually behind his desk, and spoke to the nation. And he galvanized the nation and told them what it is. They're a terrorist state that's despicable. They need to be put in their place and everything else. And he followed up his rhetoric by doing Star Wars, positioning military troops and stuff in and around areas that and missiles and stuff to indicate what's going, to protect our allies, and got everybody on board. 6 years later, the Soviet Empire collapsed.
Yeah.
Because of the policies and the strength of Ronald Reagan. That's what did it. And tear down this wall and all that stuff. That whole thing. But it's a different mindset. This guy here in the White House he doesn't know how to do anything. He's just a community organizer that never ran anything in his life. That fought the president 90% of the time when he was the state senate and the senator, and he had no experience at all. They fell for his con job title. They reelected him. They elected him the first time. The second time, they stole the election with duplicate people. Saw it slowly 6 or 7 times. And he had the press working with him, and so he got reelected. And this country is going down. In fact, the world is going down because of it.
Right, and don't forget too. One more thing I want to add as well, that we do have an evil empire. I mean, Clintons were, and now we got Obama now.
This is just what's going on in Ukraine, and he has never been physically, mentally present and in the lead in any of the crisis that occurred in the first 6 years. He always says, well, let's go wait for an investigation. The military's off the table. Everything else. Like today, he said the military's off the table. That's the wrong message to send. We never said to go in and start World War III. What should have been done today was, you know what? He said, thanks to the action that's going on in the Ukraine, we need to reestablish our strength in that area by repositioning our missiles, putting it back to Poland and the Baltic states, giving arms to the Ukrainian government, and telling them they got the full support that way immediately. Then what he should have done was lift the ban on drilling, prove the Keystone Pipeline, and start increasing production and asking the private sector also increase production on oil and gas and start selling it to Europe so they don't have to be blackmailed by Russia into energy. And so they'll be away from that blackmail and stop allowing the European nations to start buying our natural gas and oil, because we got enough in and around this country to supply the world on thousands of years. So,
I got a better idea.
That is what we need to do.
Right.
And yes, tell the ultra left and this guy Stryker and the progressives to go scratch. If he does that, then he'll have some balls and become elite again. Until then, he's just a failure and he needs to go. Because
Okay.
Otherwise, he's done.
I want